Tropical storm Elsa sets its sights on Florida. Concerns grow over the new Lambda variant rampaging through Latin America. And Mark Zuckerberg wishes America a happy birthday. Tuesday Need to Know. Let's go. Good morning. This is Cheddar's Need to Know podcast for Tuesday, July 6th. I am Jill Wagner with Carlo Versano. Hi, Carlo.
Hey, Jill. How was your holiday weekend?
It was very nice. The weather actually was pretty nice here in the Northeast. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to be a total washout. But it was great. How was yours?
I think our subtropical climate comes back tomorrow, where it'll probably stay for the rest of the summer. It was good. It was nice. It was pretty chill. I have to say, the day off after the holiday, I'm a big fan of that. I think that's really underrated. Like having the holiday on the weekend and then the day that you observe the holiday on a Monday. In Carlos America, all holidays would be set up that way.
As opposed to what? Just Monday having been the holiday and then having to come back to work on Tuesday?
Yeah. I don't think you should have to work the day after a holiday. I think you should get a day of like a buffer, you know?
Especially us, because we've got to get up so early. But my dog, I mean, you're right. Sunday night was rough because there were so many fireworks. My dog was going crazy. It was not fun.
Little Franny did not like the fireworks, I have to say.
All right, Carla, let's get to the news here. Rescue operations have resumed after demolition experts rushed over the weekend to implode the remaining part of the Champlain Towers South building in Surfside, Florida. This was ahead of Tropical Storm Elsa's landfall. 4 more bodies have now been found in the rubble, bringing the death toll to 28 in that disaster, but more than 100 people are still missing. Carlo, this demolition was actually seen as a very big success because it was quite risky. Yeah. They took down basically almost like a full building on top of the rubble. But crews covered the rubble from the part of the building that had already collapsed with a plastic mat. And then the demolition opened up potentially new pockets for crews to be able to search for victims. And apparently, this is in line with where many of the master bedrooms were in the building. So it's possible that they're going to find more people. And some, I was listening to an interview with one of somebody, a family member of somebody who's in that building, and they were saying, maybe this tropical storm was a blessing in disguise because getting the rush to demolish that other part of the building perhaps will lead them to discover survivors or even more bodies.
Yeah, that could be true. Those controlled demolitions, they're so incredible to watch, aren't they? The way that they can do it with such precision, especially in this case, under such incredible time constraints and with all of the other constraints with the rubble and everything. Anyway, Elsa is forecast to move up through the eastern Gulf of Mexico today and then over the western Florida coast, probably later tonight into tomorrow. They're looking at a landfall near Tampa sometime tomorrow. So the good news there is that it's not going to it doesn't look like it's going to drift eastward. So it's not going to be a direct hit on Miami or South Florida. That's very good news. However, they are going to obviously feel the effects, and they already are, from those outer rain bands. But it's probably going to stay at a tropical storm or at worst a low-level Category 1 storm by the time it makes landfall. So this is not going to be a catastrophic hurricane, thankfully. And just given the conditions that these rescue workers in Surfside are dealing with and the strain on emergency services throughout Florida and the Southeast, because remember, there's just been tons of people who have come in from out of Miami and out of the state to help them with this operation now going into its second week.
President Biden used the July 4th holiday to declare that the U.S. was closer than ever to declaring independence from COVID-19, with 67% of the adult population at least partially vaccinated. But this is still short of his goal, which was 70% of adults. Across the pond, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announcing that England will be lifting most of its restrictions on July 19th, even as this country is seeing a surge in new cases driven by that Delta strain. Delta now, unfortunately, not the only variant of concern out there. Health officials in Latin America are keeping a close eye on the Lambda variant, first detected in Peru, where the mortality rate is the highest in the world. Lambda has an unusual mutation that may make it easier to evade the vaccines. Scientists still keep saying, though, that more work and studies need to be done.
I'm going to need to start brushing up on my Greek alphabet here, Jill. Do you
I
remember
thought
that?
the same because I'm like, where is lambda? Did we skip some letters?
Yeah, alpha, beta, gamma, delta. I forget. I used to. Do you remember when you rushed to sorority?
Yes.
You had to learn. Yeah, you had to learn all of this stuff, and of course you forget it. But just on this lambda variant, one study out of the University of Santiago suggesting that it can break through vaccines. However, and this is a big however, the situation that they were studying there included people who had gotten the Chinese vaccine, the vaccine called CoronaVac. We already know that that vaccine is less effective than Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca. So still, this is a big threat to Latin America, where just 10% of the population is fully vaccinated, which is really just not good, not nearly where they need to be down there. As for us, it is way past time, I think, for the FDA to fully authorize at least the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines here. I think once that happens, Jill, you and I have discussed this, it's going to be easier for companies and schools and places of business to mandate vaccines when there's a full FDA approval. There's really no reason that I can see at this point why these shots should not have full approval now. We know they save lives and that the side effects are rare. What is the holdup?
I was out for dinner on Saturday night, and I was in a restaurant, and I haven't really eaten inside still, just maybe a couple of times, but I didn't make the reservation, and it was for my mother-in-law's birthday, and we went, and the lobby where we were waiting was so crowded with people, and nobody was really wearing masks. And it was mostly older people. So and in New York, so I sort of assumed that most are vaccinated because we know that the percentage is high. But at one point I just looked at my husband and I'm like, what is going on here? We have not been in a crowd like this. At one point, I heard a woman coughing. She was like 5 feet away from me. I'm like, I don't even know what to do right now. I was so stressed. And I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm just thinking, okay, well, I'm protected, you know. But it just struck me that no one's wearing masks. We know that 100% of people are not vaccinated. To me, it feels like a recipe for disaster. Like I don't know. I feel like we're acting as a society as if we're in a post-COVID world. But we're really not, because these new variants keep creeping up and a lot of people are still not vaccinated. And kids are, especially kids.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. I think you got what I do when I'm in those situations. I haven't really been in that many, to be honest with you, but I just remember I'm vaccinated, right? So I am protected. There are people who are not, and they are less protected. And there may come a day when there's a variant here that is breaking through these vaccines at a record that will make us less protected, but that day is not here. So you are protected, regardless of whether people are coughing in your face or, right? Just remember that. I know that it sounds sort of silly, but seriously.
I was about to shout over, like, are you vaccinated? I mean, it's just this whole new world that we're living in.
Yeah.
And it strikes me as I'm sitting in an empty office. So it's like I feel like the office thing is now is a separate thing from COVID in a way, because like the office is now a cultural thing. And I'm not talking about Cheddar per se, it's just across the board. Americans don't really want to go back to work. You know, They don't want to go back into the office. But yet in our private lives, and I think that there was I forget the CEO of which bank, he had said something like, if you can go out to a restaurant in New York City, you could get into your office in New York City. Yeah,
it was Morgan Stanley, I believe. Yep.
On to some other news, Carlo. 2 weeks after President Biden warned Vladimir Putin about cyber warfare, a group of Russian-linked hackers executed what appears to be one of the biggest global ransomware attacks in history. A software provider for thousands of small and medium-sized businesses called Kaseya says the hacking group was able to infiltrate its systems on Friday using a sophisticated method. Cybersecurity experts believe the handiwork is that of a hacking collective known as R-Evil. With links to Russian intelligence. Kaseya says only a very small number of customers were affected.
The problem is that those customers are mostly IT service providers, which themselves have thousands of customers, right? So you're getting this trickle-down effect that is already causing havoc. Case in point here, the Swedish grocery store chain Co-op, they had to temporarily close 800 of their stores on Saturday because this attack took their cash register computers offline, right? So this just shows you that, you don't have to be this, it doesn't have to be like this highly sophisticated thing that already leads to effects that you can feel on the ground. around, right? Everything is software now. So if the cash registers don't work, the grocery store can't operate, right? These hackers, they want $70 million in Bitcoin for a decryption key to get these systems back online. Kaseya says they haven't said whether or not they will pay, which probably means that they will if they haven't already. Again, Jill, Bitcoin, greatest thing to happen to global criminal enterprises, since the launch of the internet, right? We're just going to see more and more of these. Luckily, this one isn't major infrastructure, right? I mean, it's a lot of these small businesses, but thank God they didn't take out, right, Verizon or AT&T or something like that.
The irony, though, I guess, is that these global criminal enterprises could be the thing that takes down Bitcoin, because you've got regulators and governments who really do not like cryptocurrency and are looking for any reason to regulate it, and perhaps this is it.
Yeah, I would hope so, actually.
As of today, Amazon, under the leadership of a CEO not named Jeff Bezos, for the first time in its history. Bezos officially handing over the reins of chief executive on Monday, 27 years to the day since he founded the company. Andy Jassy is the new boss, but he's not going to need a lot of debriefing. He's actually been with Amazon nearly as long as Bezos, starting in 1997 when it was just a niche online bookseller. Remember that. He's led Amazon Web Services since it launched back in 2003.
It's also how Satya Nadella became Microsoft CEO, starting at their cloud unit. That's how you birth this new generation of tech CEOs running the cloud unit successfully. AWS, by the way, they now account for 1/3 of all web traffic. So it's just incredible what a big piece of Amazon's business their cloud unit actually is. So no small job there. This guy is primed, you might say, for this gig. Bezos, by the way, is sticking around. Joe Bezos is sticking around as executive chairman, so he's not totally out of the picture yet, but obviously he won't have the job of CEO and all that comes with that, so he can focus more on his space company, Blue Origin, and whatever other ventures I guess you have when you're worth more than anyone else on Earth.
Really quick anecdote. I caved, and Carlo, I did buy Francesca's baby presents from Amazon.
Thank you for those, by the way. Yes.
So I bought.
Jill got me a bunch of books.
Yes, I basically bought Carlo and Becky and Francesca all of our favorite baby books. It's a good start and they're tried and they're tested because we've read them all and we loved them. And it was funny, I was torn because I did not want to purchase your gift from Amazon. I just felt like I wanted to put my money into a small business and just do something else. But I looked up bookstores in Brooklyn near where you live, and none of them delivered, or few of them delivered. I just wasn't able to do what I want. I wanted to pick out my books and get them sent to your house with a little bit of a message that says, congratulations on your new baby. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't find anywhere else to go that delivered books to you.
Yeah.
They were available for pickup, but I'm not going to be like, okay, Carlo, I got you a present, but you need to go pick it up.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of billionaire tech CEOs, did you happen to see this video that went viral over the weekend of Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, yeah.
So he has been trying to, quote, take back control of Facebook's battered image, as one report put it back in May. Apparently, the strategy here is just more Mark Zuckerberg. So they're basically putting Mark Zuckerberg out there in the public eye. Over the weekend, he took it to a whole new level with this video that he posted showing him kind of zooming across a lake on an electric hydrofoil surfboard, holding a gigantic American flag as John Denver's "Take Me Home, Country Roads" played over the clip. I watched it numerous times. I couldn't stop because it was like a train wreck that you're just drawn to. What did you make of it?
I mean, a lot of people were, when I saw this clip going viral on the 4th, a lot of people were saying that it was really cringy. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty cool. I thought it was the opposite. I was like, okay, Zuckerberg is clearly a weird dude, but he seems, this seems like something that I would do if I had access to a, lake that I owned and a electric hydrofoil surfboard, which I do not. But hey, at least he's not trying to go to space. That's what I say.
So there is another tech executive, Aaron Levy, who founded the cloud company Box. He said, joking, Zuck really doing his part to make tech founders seem normal. which I thought was kind of funny. It's just, you know what it is? I just wonder the strategy that Facebook is having. Like, that's their strategy to improve the image of Facebook, is to put Mark Zuckerberg out there more. I feel like he's just such a quirky, and I don't think he's all that likable. Even though you have to applaud in terms of his personal life. I mean, he's been a huge proponent of paternity leave, which I know is a huge issue that you can relate to how important it is. And he was ahead on, him and Alexis Ohanian from Reddit. They were basically kind of leading the charge. But I don't get it. Like, Zuckerberg, I would say get him not involved if you want to improve the image.
Well, I mean, I would think that too, but think about, he hasn't really been that involved, and their image is a disaster. So maybe they're just like, hey, put Zuck out there more.
See what happens.
It's not like Facebook could have a worse public image, right?
A quick Wimbledon update after Manic Monday at the tournament. So Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic have now advanced to the quarterfinals. Coco Gauff, her run came to an end in the fourth round at the hands of former champ Angelique Kerber of Germany.
The most exciting storyline, I don't know if you were following this over the weekend, Jill, also ending in disappointment when Emma Raducanu of Britain was forced to retire. It looked like she started to hyperventilate on the court. It sounds like she may have had stomach cramps. Raducanu, you may not have heard that name. You wouldn't be the only one. She's 18 years old. She was a wild card entry into Wimbledon. She made it to the fourth round in her Grand Slam debut. Incredible. Basically becoming an overnight sensation in the UK. Youngest British woman to ever make it that far at Wimbledon. Somebody definitely worth watching in the years ahead. Incredible stuff from her.
And finally, if you're a movie star, the south of France is the place to be this week. It's where the Cannes Film Festival is back in action after a year's hiatus. But the glitzy event is off to an anything but glitzy start, and this is because of France's COVID protocols. French law requires that anyone gathering indoors show proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test. The problem here is that the app that they use to check vaccination statuses are only compatible with the EU's tracking system, so that anyone coming from outside of Europe who has been vaccinated still has to spit in a tube every time they want to enter the festival grounds. According to Variety, it's led to a, quote, disgusting scene of A-listers in their tuxes and gowns being forced to cough and spit into these little test tubes. Not exactly a glamorous way to start the party. I'm kind of into it, though, because I feel like it brings them back down to earth a little.
Exactly. I sort of like the image of, like, our top directors and movie stars having to, like, hack into these little tubes. It's kind of funny, right? But seriously, though, Cannes is a huge test for the global film industry. That industry lost something around $32 billion in 2020. Box office clearly showing signs of rebounding, at least in North America, between the Fast and Furious movie. What was the other big one? I forget. But anyway, people are definitely coming back to theaters. But there's just a bigger question of whether I think 2020, when it comes to Hollywood, is going to be seen as this watershed in the movie business, Jill. Are we ever going back to pre-COVID times with the movies? I know that this is sort of like a story that I follow because I like going to the movies. So I think seeing what comes out of Cannes will help, as will this weekend's opening of Black Widow, which comes out on Friday in theaters and on Disney Plus. That's a little bit different, though. I mean, Marvel will be okay, Disney will be okay, but when was the last time that you saw a really good adult movie? I don't mean adult movie like porno. I mean, like a movie for adults, either streaming or in theaters. Like a really good movie, a movie that you thought was so good that you would even watch it again. I can't even remember, and I just wonder, like, are those days over?
I think you make a good point. It seems like all the quality stuff that adults, anyway, like I guess myself, who I don't really love superhero movies. It feels like all that is happening in series, in TV, in Netflix series or Amazon Prime series or whatever it is, HBO Max. It's on streaming and not in a movie format.
By the way, I forgot to tell you this. Guess what we started over the weekend?
Please say The Wire. Please.
The Wire.
Okay.
We started
Yay.
it. Yes, we just watched one episode. We tried to watch a second, but the HBO Max app is so bad that it just like crashes all the time. But we've started. I will keep you posted on how we do. But so far, so good.
I always remember, though, that it does start a little slow. So at least get halfway through the first season, and you'll be.
I'm already hooked. Yeah.
Okay, that is what you need to know for Tuesday, July 6th.
Have a good one, guys.